episode of MASH, 'cause you're the biggest fan. The moon lit the sea, the clothes we were shedding. You really did a number on me. It took an alien for me to feel that earthling love is all too real. When you left me and went back to Mars, left me with a planetary heartache. It took an alien for me to feel that earthling love is all too real.
Hi.
Stacy Antonel.
Is it okay that I don't have a setup?
Yeah, you're the
Okay.
setup. You're the setup,
Cool.
right?
Let's have a little
Wow.
webcam.
You are doing great, Stacy. First of all, great to see you.
You too. You're always gallivanting.
So where are you? Where are you, in San Diego?
I'm in San Diego, yeah.
Love it, living that California life.
Temporarily, yeah. I was just in
Okay.
Texas. Now I'm back home for a week.
I know you've been touring quite a bit, Stacy, but I mean, always the outsider, your new album. First of all, before anything, I have to tell you, obviously, like, I know the hard work that you've put into it, and it came out so beautifully, Stacy. Congratulations. It's a really special album. Like, I'm so like, it really like has like extra, it's a really special album. Congratulations. It came out great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, for people that don't know you, you're a incredible songwriter, wonderful voice, you're from San Diego, but you're kind of Nashville based, of course. And, I was thinking about you, by the way. You look great. And I remember when we first met in Nashville, that I think it was like a Cabana Taps, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And I was thinking how healthy you always seem. Like, you always seem like so healthy and vibrant, good vibes, like rested. And like right now, you look so rested and all that. So I think you would have a perspective on this, Stacy. When you read about like rock stars and the excess of the past, guys and girls would go on tour and they're hooking up with everyone they meet, staying up all night. You read about Led Zeppelin and the Who, those parties. Can you imagine how a lead singer would get through that? Because I feel like you're so you're like, you do it all, and like you're so healthy and like you're so energetic. Like, that must be crazy, right?
Yeah, that's impossible. But those people weren't really singing, I mean, they were, but like, they were more like emoting and performing.
Oh,
I don't know. I feel like their vocal challenges weren't very large.
interesting. Okay, so you think that, like, okay, so your care of your voice is like a big deal then?
Yeah, but I also drink too much. So I do very bad things that do not help my voice. Like, when I stop drinking for a while, my voice gets like amazing, but I never do that because I
never do that.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing you do. But like, yeah, it's hard in Nashville, of course, so many alcohol. But like, what do you think you get that Stacy? Because like, you're such a hard worker, that work ethic right now, right? Because you have this momentum. People knew you from before with your old moniker, Ginger Cowgirl.
Mhm.
But where do you think you get this work ethic? Because seriously, because so many bands blow up or like whatever, but I feel like you're always like, since I've met you, you're hardworking, you're recording, you're traveling, you're like touring now. Like, where did this hard work ethic come from, Stacey?
I don't know where it came from. I just have such a hunger for it, like a bad hunger. Like, that's part of what the album is about, is like,
Yeah.
I wanted it too badly. It was destroying me, like constantly comparing myself to others, just like hating everybody that was more successful than me. So I think, like, I don't know where it comes from. I just like, I want it so badly. It just motivates me with ease.
Yeah, it does. But you're creating something that's like of value here. That's why I think that like you're kicking ass, and you're gonna continue to kick ass, and people are like getting to know your name because you're putting the quality above like the hit.
Yeah, I agree. I want everything I do to be of value and have integrity, and not just like, even social media. Like, obviously I have to do it for the algorithm and all the marketing bullshit, but like, even when I do it for those reasons, I want it to be meaningful in some deeper way. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people really will connect to this, Stacy. But, and like when I was listening to like the lyrics of this album, like I was like connecting to it in like a neurotic kind of way, like in the sense that, the way I treated my radio career when I first started in Miami was like, there wasn't any nonsense. I had a show to do in the morning. I go to bed super early, and I just kind of like, I remember kind of Harry Styles in an interview saying that like, he just wanted the audience to like love him. And I wanted to do that like earlier in my career. And I feel like singers, like Harry Styles said, sometimes have that. Like, what do you think is the damage that some musicians or me earlier in my career, like needed that positive reinforcement from people, Stacy?
Whoa, I mean, I still have that. Like, that is like a motivating factor. I think everything can kind of, for everybody, can be rooted back in childhood. Like, how can I get people to like me? Like, I have this like false belief that if people like my music, I'll feel happy.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't learned to outgrow it. That's something I think a lot about lately. Like when I go on stage, I both hate the audience and want them to love me. And it's like a very difficult dichotomy to work through.
Yeah.
It's just very human, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that doesn't care.
I know, but that is also what makes you such a great artist. I feel like to be like a great artist, you have to have a little bit of that. Especially like a lead singer, like you, a performer. Yeah. I just think it goes hand in hand, whoever it may be. But yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So, okay. So you're from San Diego. You recorded this album in San Diego. You didn't do it in Nashville.
I didn't do it in Nashville.
How was that experience, Stacy? Like, I'm not well acquainted with San Diego recording. Like, do the vibes change? Like, how did you feel?
I mean, I don't really have a ton of experience. Like my first album, wasn't an album. It was an EP under Ginger Cowgirl. I did record in Nashville, RCA Studio C. And that felt like really awesome because I paid them like a set rate per song. So for like months, really, I would go in there and we would like sit and explore, and there was no ticking clock.
Yeah.
And that felt really great. In San Diego, it was like, we have 3 days to do 12 songs. Here's a band, you've never met them before, go. So I can't say that I really loved that element of it because there's just no time for exploration.
How do you do that, Stacy? When that happens, when you have like, you're in a time crunch and you got to click immediately, like how do you start? What are the first things you do?
We just started with the easiest song, and like every day I knew that I had 3 really songs that I knew would be really hard to record or to get people to understand my vision of. So every day I would like pick one in my heart and be like, here's the song that we're going to work hard on and that I'm not going to back down on. And it took a lot of like emotional energy. I'm the only girl. Everybody is a guy. Not that that's like the whole story, but it's an element.
So there's a lot of like, we know better a little bit.
Some of that. Yeah, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, totally. I can see that. I mean, everybody struggles with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it didn't work out entirely great. Like 3 of the songs I didn't like. So I re-recorded them in Nashville, which added money onto my fucking budget. So.
No fucking way.
Yeah. So then I had to hire a whole different set of musicians, a whole different studio. And then I didn't even like how one of the songs came out. And I did it again, Jamie, a 3rd fucking time.
But Stacy, why do you think that is? Because I've heard like even super successful like musician friends. I think I had Lainey Wilson on my show in episode 300 talk about this. Why even the most successful female artists do you have like clueless dudes like myself, like whatever, just like telling them like what to do? Like when really like it's women that it's like honestly are making the best fucking shit right now. Like what's going on?
For me, I think it's like I don't have the skill set to like communicate what I want. Like I don't have the knowledge of Pro Tools. I don't have the knowledge of like drums. I'm just like, can you make the drum go blah 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 instead of bump ba da? And they're like, okay, what do you mean by that? I'm like, I don't know, but it's in my head and you're not fucking doing it right.
Right. So you don't know the lingo. You don't know the lingo.
Yeah. Well. And I think when there's like a time crunch environment, there's just no room to really like, some people are touchy-feelier than others. And like my producer for this is not. He's like just super amazing engineer and it's just like has great ears and he just wants to move on. And I think he wants to give me the best value for my money. And I think that's a strongly motivating factor for him. But it's like for me, I want what I hear in my head, If that takes more time, then it's more money and I get it. But
well, listen, it came out great. That's the bottom line. Like it just came out great. So whatever changes you did, whatever tinkering, Perfect. Okay.
Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. But let me ask you a couple stories from you that are like super fascinating. I kind of know them. I kind of know them, but like for my audience, I think it's just like it makes you're such a fascinating and cool character, and I love you. So, like for example, like the Buenos Aires story, I love that. So you're a well-traveled musician. You graduated from UC Berkeley, and then you moved to Buenos Aires because you like, you answered like a Craigslist ad, and you end up doing like June Carter stuff and like commercials. Like, what's that story about? I just love it, Stacy.
Yeah, I moved to Argentina because I wanted to quit my job and I wanted to break up with my boyfriend. So my best friend did the same thing. So we just moved to Buenos Aires together.
Oh
And
wow.
I answered an ad, a Craigslist ad for an American that could sing like June Carter Cash. And I wasn't a singer back then. I mean, I've always been a singer to myself, but not in a professional capacity. And I auditioned. He was like a composer, an Argentine composer that actually went to Berklee College of Music. So he like
Okay.
spoke English well enough. And he wrote jingles for like MTV and Jeep. And I got the job and I sang jingles that aired throughout Latin America.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was just super random, a very random start to my career. And I got like $40 for doing those things. Like,
Does that trip
no
you out,
money.
Stacy, that like, you're starting your career and like your voice is airing in, Colombia, Venezuela,
It
cable,
was awesome. Like I was in some other part of Argentina and I in a hotel and I heard my voice on the TV and it was an ad for 16 and Pregnant. And I was just like, wow, this must be what people feel like when their own song is on the radio. But it was
I love
just
that.
fucking
I love
cool,
it.
dude.
I love it.
Super
Stacey. Yeah.
random.
No, and that's why your music is so unique and your personality as well. Another one is, you did the 3 Minutes to Stardom, that show.
Mhm.
People may remember it or not. It was like short-lived, but you like won, and you won like 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever asked you about this. Like, how was that experience like? That must have been interesting.
I think that was the best day of my life, winning that money.
so okay. So how old were you when this happened, Stacey?
I was 30.
Okay. Were you nervous? Like this is crazy.
Oh, I was catatonic with fear. There were four rounds, spaced like a month apart. And every time I had to perform, I would just sit in the back, like terrified and shaking and just looking at my lap. And everybody else would be like talking. I'm like, how are you enjoying yourself right now? This is terrifying. But actually, I've now learned that talking to others distracts you from your fear. So maybe that's what they were doing.
Is that?
But yeah.
How do you deal with stage fright, Stacy? Because everyone's got it. Everyone I talk to has got it. Like, what's your coping mechanism? Do you do yoga? What do you do?
Wow, what a healthy suggestion. No, I usually drink.
Oh my God. And we started talking about health. I love it.
Yeah, I try not to drink just because it makes my voice so much better. I don't know. It's almost like I notice myself playing possum. It's the same impulse that made me like shut down on this singing competition. I just like kind of recede into myself and get very irritable, and I don't really know how to deal with it, I guess. How does, yeah. And it's stupid. It'll be like a stupid gig that I don't care about. Like, why am I nervous? Like, I don't know.
Well, I've seen you perform and you seem to handle it okay.
Thank you.
I think you joke. I think you make the audience laugh. I think that's what you do.
And You're right. You're so right.
Yeah, I think that's what you do. And then you hit them with like a heartbreaker song and people are really confused, like in a dizzy.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, why? You're so right. That's why I tell jokes on stage. And I think that's stupid. I want to stop doing that because I think it's a crutch and it's just like, it prevents me from like fully facing the moment.
Interesting. Okay. I hear that. Okay. Well, there you go. Well, you're going to be touring a lot with this album, so you'll have plenty of times to practice. In fact, you're touring right now. You're like in an off week. You're going to end up here in Nashville June 30th. That's going to be great. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see you. But yeah, like, are you going to take us away with a song? Super excited about it.
Sure. I'll do the title track from the album called Always the Outsider.
Oh my God, such a good song too. That PV line, I can't. I love it.
I have a really cool music video for it coming out too. Filmed at Dee's.
Filmed at Dee's Country Lounge, the iconic bar in Nashville. Thanks, Stacy.
Okay. Sorry. 95 degrees. It's midnight in Tennessee. Sweating in the hurt because the bar has a broken AC. Faces swimming by, glowing in the colored lights. staring at the backs of the people all circled up tight. Always the outsider, that I can move forward in this town alone without playing the game. Well, you know what they say. Burn out my own fire, watching my own hunger eat me alive. I got no one to blame, I was too good to play. But it's been a rough 2 years, 'cause I was wrong. One more PBR to dull the back guitar, staring down the throat of the can at the end of the bar. And who's at fault but me for always being lonely, and always confusing solitude with being free? Always the outsider, that I can move forward in this town alone without playing the game. Well, you know what they say. Burn out my own fire, watching my own hunger eat me alive. I got no one to blame, I was too good to play. Well, it's been a rough 2 years, I was wrong. Thought I could have it both ways. Yeah, but you know what they say. Well, it's been a rough 2 years, 'cause I was wrong. Oh.
Love it. Stacy Antonel, always the outsider. Great album. So great to catch up.
You
Seriously,
too.
you did an
See you in
amazing job.
Nashville.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Stacy.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye.
Bye.